Okay, let's talk materials before we get into our pattern. We will need our 3.5 millimeter hook. We're gonna need our yarn needle. We're going to need some scissors, a stitch marker. We will need some polyfill. Not a lot of, well, quite a bit of polyfill actually, because we need to fill the body as well as the feet. You will need some quilting pins. You will need some eyeballs, size 8 millimeter eyes, and then you're gonna need some yarn. So I used 5 different colors for my caterpillar. The colors I used was mainly pastels. So I did a pink, I did a yellow, I did white, purple, and a salmon color. And you can see this is a good yarn buster project. The only thing that wasn't scrap yarn was this white one. So if you have extra yarn laying around, this one is a really good project to get rid of some of that the scrap stash yarn. And I think that's it. So let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, I forgot. I need a little bit of black for the mouth. So go ahead and get that as well. All right, let's get into the pattern. Okay, we're starting with the body, and for the body we're going to start with our purple yarn. I'm using pastels, so it's like a pastel purple. So what we're going to do is start with a magic circle, and in our magic circle we are going to do 6 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Let's close this, put our stitch marker in there, and we are going to, for row number 2, do increases all the way around. So that's 2 single crochets in each stitch, and you should end up with 12 stitches. So go ahead and do that all the way around, and I will meet you back here. All right, row number 3 is going to be 1 single crochet and then an increase. So 1 single crochet and then an increase in the next stitch. 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and we are doing that all the way around. Row number 4 is going to be 2 single crochets and then an increase. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then an increase. Let's do that together one more time. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then an increase, and you're going to do this all the way around. Okay, row number 5 is going to be our final row of increases, and that's going to be, for segment 1 at least, that's going to be 3 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then 2 single crochets in that next stitch. So again, that's 1, 2, 3, and then an increase in that next stitch. And we are doing that all the way around. Okay, so for rows 6 through 8, the next 3 rows, we're just doing 1 single crochet in each stitch. And basically what that's going to do is give us some height to our body. So as of right now, we went out. Now we're going to go down so that our body has a little bit of height to it. So go ahead and do that for rows 6 through 9. I'll meet you back here. Alright, so this is what I'm looking like after row number 8. So for row number 9, we're doing our first round of decreases, which is 3 single crochets and then a decrease. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease. So let's look at that one more time. So 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease, and you're going to do that all the way around. Row 10 is going to be 2 single crochets and then a decrease. 1, 2, and then a decrease. Just like that. So let me show you one more time. So 1, 2, and then a decrease all the way around. Row number 11 is going to be 1 single crochet and then a decrease. That's 1 and then a decrease. 1 and then a decrease all the way around. Okay, so at this point we're actually going to stuff this section because the caterpillar is going to be worked in, like the body is going to be worked in a continuous section, and so if we wait to the end it's going to be kind of hard to stuff. So we are going to just stuff each section as we get done with that particular color. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll pick up after we stuff. Okay, so this is what our segment number 1 is looking like. And the cool thing about this caterpillar is that we have 4 segments in the body total, and the remaining 3 are going to follow the same pattern. So for our next segment, we're actually going to switch over to white, and we're going to repeat rows 3 through 11. Okay, so row 3 is where we start with the 1 single crochet then an increase, and row 11 is when we stop with the 1 single crochet and decrease. So let me go ahead and do that second segment to show you what it looks like, and then I'll leave you to your own devices for the rest of the 2. Okay, so this is what segment number 2 looks like with the white. Again, we're just repeating rows 3 through 11. So go ahead and do this for segments 3 and segments 4. Again, repeat rows 3 through 11, and you should just be able to tag on 2 other segments to this one, and I'll meet you back once I do mine. Okay, so I realized as I was going through the 3rd segment that this may be a little bit confusing to some of my beginners out there, so I'm going to show you this last segment what it means to repeat rows 3 through 11. Because I just remember when I was a beginner crocheter and I would look at tutorials and such, and folks would just skip over the parts that I needed help with the most. So I want to make sure that I'm doing it justice. Okay, so what I mean by repeat rows 3 through 11. So I just changed my color. I just did segment 3, which was the yellow. I changed my color. Row number 3 is 1 single crochet and then an increase. So I'm going to go 1 single crochet and then increase. And I'm going to do that all the way around. So at this point, honestly, I can tuck these in here because I don't need those anymore. I just crocheted a couple of times over these just so that they stay in place, but I don't need them anymore. Alright, and then we're going to do just the 1 single crochet and then the increase all the way around. So it's 1 single crochet and then an increase all the way around. Okay, so we did our 1 single crochet and then an increase. We are now going to go into 2 single crochets and then an increase. So 1, 2, and then an increase. So 1, 2. Uh-oh, I picked up some of that yarn in the middle. 2. Oh, I did it again. Let's pull that out just a little bit. There we go. 2, and then increase, and you're doing that all the way around for this round as well. Next, we're going to do 3 single crochets and then an increase. 1, 2, 3, and then an increase. Let's say that one more time. So 1, 2, 3, and then an increase, and you're doing that all the way around. Okay, for the next 3 rows, you're doing 1 single crochet in each stitch, just like that. So for 3 rows. Okay, so this is what I'm looking like after the 3 rows of single crochets. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets and then a decrease because we're going to start bringing this guy in. So 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease. 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease all the way around. Alright, next we want to do 2 single crochets and then a decrease. There we go. So 1, 2, and then a decrease. 1, 2, and then a decrease. All the way around. Okay, so next we need to do 1 single crochet and then a decrease. 1 single crochet and then a decrease. 1 single crochet and then a decrease all the way around. Okay, so now that we made all of our segments, we stuffed all of our segments, we want to go ahead and fasten off, and we are going to sew in this hole right here. And this is what we're looking like once we do all of our segments. We close that hole, and what I like to do honestly is just to kind of smush it a little bit, smush each of the sections, and that way you don't get such a distinction between one segment and the next, because if you just leave them out like that, it looks kind of weird, right? So smush them so it becomes a little bit more seamless, and we can go on to the head. Okay, for the head I'm pulling out the salmon yarn because again we want our caterpillar to be more pastelish. So these, I'm actually using this as a yarn buster, so all of the yarn that I'm using is from my my scrap stash. So that's what you saw me doing, just kind of releasing some of the yarn from my yarn ball. Okay, so for row number 1 we're going to do a magic circle, and we're putting 6 single crochets in a magic circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Close that circle, put our stitch marker on there. Row number 2, we're doing increases all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you should end up with 12 when you're done. So go ahead and do that all the way around. Row 3, 1 single crochet and then an increase. 1 single crochet and then an increase. 1 single crochet and then an increase all the way around. Row number 4 is 2 single crochets and then an increase. 2, and then an increase all the way around. Row 5 is going to be 3 single crochets and then an increase. 1, 2, 3, and then an increase. 1, 2, 3, and then increase all the way around. Alright, rows 6 through 8 is going to be 1 single crochet in each all the way around. So just 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around for the next 3 rows. So 6 through 8. Go ahead and do that and meet me back. Okay, so this is what I'm looking like after row number 8, and at this point we need to insert our plastic safety eyes because we don't want our hole to get too small to where we can't fit it in there. So for the plastic safety eyes, we are looking for to insert between rows 5 and 6. So that's the magic circle counts as 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So somewhere in there. And then we are in stitches 1 and 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over here. Put in our backs, and then we can continue with row number 9. Curve side down for the backs. There we go. Alright, so now we're starting our decreases. So row number 9 is going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease. So 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease all the way around. Row 10 is going to be 2 single crochets and then a decrease. 1, 2, and then a decrease. 1, 2, and then a decrease all the way around. Row 11 is going to be 1 single crochet and then a decrease. Decrease. 1, and then our decrease. I'm gonna go ahead and do that all the way around. Alrighty, this is what our head is looking like. So what we need to do now is grab our quilting pins, and we're going to pin our head to our body. And what I like to do is just look for in our body, it looks like it's right here, look where we changed the colors for the rows, because sometimes that's not as clean, and I just make sure that's on the bottom, just like that. And so when I put my head is on the side that's a little bit more clean. So when we put our head, we just want to make sure that this guy is straight. And I'm going to take my quilting pins and I'm just going to angle them downward so that the head stays in place as I sew it. And be careful, you see how mine's coming out right there? Be really careful when you're using these guys. And that's why I say angle them down, but I didn't take my own advice. There we go. Alright, so it should look something like this, and then you're gonna take that long tail that we kept after crocheting the head, and we're gonna use that to sew the head to the body. Alright, this is what our little guy's looking like so far. Doesn't stand up because we need to make the feet, but this is what we're looking like so far. And what we want to do next is the antennas. Alright, so for the antenna, what we want to do is start with a magic circle. And we're putting 6 single crochets in that magic circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then close that hole. There we go. And we are connecting the last stitch to the first stitch with a slip stitch, just like that. Now we're going to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Starting in the second chain from the hook, we're going to insert 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're just going to connect to that last stitch with a slip stitch, just like that. Go ahead and fasten off, leave a long tail because we need that tail to sew. We are almost done, and I say almost because we need to, this is what our antenna looks like. We need this working yarn to be right here because that's where we're attaching the antenna to the head. So how we're going to do that is we're going to get our yarn needle and we're just going to weave that tail down. I like to do it on the back side just because it makes the work look a little bit cleaner. So just pick up some stitches and weave all the way down. Just like that. You could do it on the front, I mean, but it just, for me, it makes it look a little bit cleaner in my opinion when you do it in the back. And then for this tail right here, we don't need it, so you can just weave that in and cut it. But that's what your antenna looks like. Go ahead and make another one and then meet back here so we can attach it to the head. So to attach our antennas, we're gonna attach between rows 2 and 3. So magic circle counts as 1, so 1, 2, 3, so somewhere in there. I'm just gonna grab my antenna and look for rows 2 and 3. And just kind of put my antenna in there just like that to hold it in place. Do that with the other side, and then I'm going to sew it in place and meet you back when I do that so you can see the result. Okay, so let's start with the feet. You're making 2 feet for every colored segment of the body, so you should have 8 total. So what we're going to do is start with a magic circle. Put 6 single crochets in that magic circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead and close that circle. Next row is going to be a row of increases. We should end up with 12. 2, 6, 8, 10, and 12. The next row is going to be a row of decreases. This is honestly the last row, so it's super simple. A little bit of a trick for this one, kind of push the foot out. You see how I'm doing that? Push it out, because if you don't, it's going to curl in on you and it's going to be really hard to flip it out. So go ahead and do your decreases all the way around. You see how it's trying to like curl back on me? Just kind of keep pushing it out like that, and that way when you get to the end you don't have to flip it out. Just keep pushing it out. Go ahead and fasten off, leave a long tail for sewing because we're going to use that tail to attach it to our body. Alright, and then go ahead and pin these to the segments on your body, and I will meet you back here before I sew so you can see what that looks like. Alright, so this is what we're looking like with everything pinned in. Approximately what I did was look for the 4th space in each segment. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is essentially what I did. You can place the legs however you see fit, but that's just kind of what worked for me. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and sew these in place, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so when we are sewing this guy, we're going to sew partially, and then we're going to stuff just a little bit and then close. So let's go ahead and start sewing. think this is a good place to stuff. And you don't need a lot of stuffing. You just want it so that the foot looks a little bit full. Literally, that's probably too much. You only need a little bit. And then I'm just going to go ahead and continue sewing all the way around. Alright, this is what we're looking like. Our guy's standing up and not rolling anymore. So only thing we need to do now is to add the mouth and we are done. Alright, for the eyes, for the mouth, excuse me, we're going to pin first. So we're looking for rows 6, between rows 6 and 7. So magic circle counts as 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we're looking for the centermost stitches. I'm going to go there. And I'm going to skip a stitch and go there. And then we're going to put a pin between rows 7 and 8 in between the 2 that we just placed. So it should look something like that. Okay, so now what we want to do is go through the back of the head and we're going to come up into that right pin, just like that. You can honestly take that out. We don't need that anymore. And then we are going to go into this pin right there. Under the line just made, and we're gonna go back into, oh, I left a little bit out. Let me go back through that. Why is it doing this to me today? There we go. And we're gonna go back into that bottom stitch, just like that. And then pull it through the first stitch that we went in. And then you're gonna pull that V. Make sure this is in the center. And then pull that V to make the face, just like that. All right, and this is what we are looking like. That's what our guy looks like, the finished result. Super, super cute, simple. All right, so let's talk alterations, like I do in all of my videos. So you could change the color theme. I went for pastels, but you definitely can go with more bold colors. You could play around with the facial expressions for sure. You can add maybe some spots or some sprinkles. You could taper off the tail. I mean, the possibilities are endless, but this thing is really, really, really cute. Let me know if you decide to try it. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, all that good stuff. And don't forget to look out for the pattern vault that I have coming out in about a month or so. All of the patterns that you see in YouTube will stay there for the time being, but in the description where I post the patterns, that will go away pretty soon. So look out for those changes. I will be having a new website launching soon that would have all of the patterns available for you, as well as a subscription service that holds the vault. So just kind of look out for that. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to crochet some cute stuff, and stay safe, you guys. There's a lot going on in the world. Make sure you and your family are staying safe. All right, until next week.